All right, everybody, we are live.
Hey everyone, we are live. Sorry we were a little bit late, some tech problems, but we have the great and ageless Julio Franco in a different country. How are you doing today, Julio Franco?
I'm doing great. Fantastic. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great, and this is Daniel Horine, owner and art creator of PopFlyPopShot.com.
Hey, everyone.
Get your question in right now, and Daniel will select the question that
How
intrigues
you
him
doing,
the most.
Daniel?
I'm doing great, Mr. Franco. How are you?
If you would like to ask Julio Franco your own question, submit it, and Daniel will get to it near the end, and you will get a giveaway from him. If you're new, what Popfly Pop Shop is once a week on Sundays, Daniel releases a comic book style cover. It is just an art cover, and it is available for 1 week only. And this week, we have the amazing Julio Franco cover. Can you go ahead and bring it up? It's only available until Sunday. There is an autograph upgrade available. And I got to be honest, up to this point, my favorite was Ichiro. This one is right there. If not, my new favorite is this one. Julio Franco, what was your reaction the first time you saw this cover?
I saw some sketches and I see him grow into something great, and I love it. I love it. The bat and the dinosaur. It's amazing. It's fantastic. It's a great idea.
Thank you.
I love it. You captured so much about this great man's career, Daniel. And let's take a couple peek at it. One is I love that you did not choose a team for him, and he's not wearing a uniform like in most of your covers. Because Julio Franco, Rangers love you, White Sox love you, Indians love you, Braves love you. How important is that to you that you're beloved by so many different franchises as opposed to just one team?
You know what? It's so overwhelming to know all days that from a guy that comes from another country and play for so many teams, and all those teams are respect you not only for what you did, but they respect you just for who you are. Not only the numbers you put on the field, but there's respect for who you are and how you behave yourself. You know, it's a great honor to me, to all those teams, to give me the opportunity to play for them.
Hmm. Did you wrestle, Daniel, trying to choose one team? And like, how did you end up going the way that you did?
You know, I like that I can make work that appeals to as many people as possible. And I think what's great about your career, Mr. Franco, is that like so many, like Evan was saying, so many fans like feel like they own you. Like he's a White Sox, he's a Ranger, he's an Indian. I think that's such a great. It's a great hallmark of a great career and a great human. And I just wanted my work to be enjoyed by as many different of your fans as possible.
Now, speaking of all the teams that you've played for and have success with, Julio Franco, I've never heard like what exactly happened with the Rays. Can you spill the beans? Can you tell us why that stint was so short and what happened there?
Well, yeah, I came out of an injury. Yeah, I come out of the injury, and I signed with the Devil Rays, and uh, great spin training. I remember the hitting coach. I won't mention his name, because it's not proper. He said that my bat slows down, and I said to him, if I'll be the first to know these things.
Mm-hmm.
Canseco got hurt, so at the time I was a DH. Canseco got hurt. Canseco started, playing. So they sent me. We're going to send you to Mexico until we can get a spot for you. I refused, and they said, well, if you don't go, we're going to suspend you. Call my agent,
Wow.
and I asked him, can they do this? I said, yes. I said, okay. I'm going to prove them they were wrong and prove myself that I can continue to play. I went to Mexico, and I hit 438. And people say, well, that's the Mexican League. Okay. I continued, went to Korea. He like 328, 20 something home run, 120 RBIs. Not opened some eyes. I said, okay. Went back to Mexico. He 424, and Atlanta called me up, and End of the story. From there on, I started playing first base. I started hitting the ball well. When I got to the clubhouse, Bobby Cox asked someone, how does he look? Is he fat? And one of the coaches said, you should see this guy. This guy is not fat. Vice versa, this guy is in great shape. After all that, you know the story.
Yeah. So you tell the Rays you hit 300 for another decade after they thought your bat was slowing down.
Well, I appreciate what they did for me. I mean, I appreciate every team that let me put a uniform on and allow me to perform on the field. You know, they signed me, they sent me to Mexico. I got a great experience. I continue working on the things that I'm supposed to be working on. Went to Korea, went back to Mexico, continue working and continue getting things, you know, my legs, my arms, and continue tuning things up into Atlanta called me. And after that, I played another 8 years in the big league. So it's outstanding.
Yes.
It's a great opportunity to play baseball.
Well, that shows your character, that you're willing to put in the work. Anyone could have hung it up, and you chose to excel in some other leagues and work your way back to the MLB a couple times. That your love of the game shows through that so well. Daniel, can you show the cover again? Something else that I love on here, Daniel, is you've obviously captured his iconic batting stance and enormous bat that you always use. So 2 questions, Julio Franco. What size bat did you actually use? Because it looked like a club. And talk us about your iconic stance. Did anyone try to talk you out of it, but you hit 300 in the minor leagues? So did they just say, let him do whatever he wants to do? It's working?
It's a great story. I was drafted by the Philadelphia Phillies and went through the minor leagues. I hit 300 in every league for 5 years. I went to AAA, and it's a manager named Ron Clark. He says, we don't want you to hit like that. I don't think you can hit like that. And I said, well, you know, might as well go home because I don't know to hit any other way. So this is how I hit. And this is how I put it back there and I feel comfortable. It's what I wanted to do. At the end of the year, I hit like 305 and, you know, everything was set. From there, I was drafted. I was traded to Cleveland from Philly. It's a great disappointment of my life. You guys remember the big 5-for-1 trade with Bon Hayes for George Vukovic, Jerry Baller, Jay Wheeler, myself, and Manny Trio. It was 5 for Bon Hayes. When I went to Cleveland, I got the opportunity to work with Bobby Bonds, the great Barry's father. He introduced me to do a lot of exercises for my forearms, and also he put a bat in my hands that was, at the time, was 35. And I said, this is too heavy. I can't swing this. He says, you will. Don't worry about it. He says, by the time we finish the year, you'll be at 36. I said, you crazy. He was right. And it's how I got to, you know, those old timers used to work their hands. And those old timers they all used to use a heavy bat. And the old scene was the mass was power. And he teach me how to whip the bat around the strike zone. And after that, it was easy. It was easy to control it.
Well, Dan, you captured his swing a lot better than Kenner did back in the day. I was so disappointed in this toy, Julio Franco, because it didn't have your batting stance correct. Daniel, as a kid, how did his stance resonate with you where you're drawing it 30 years later?
You know, I can't describe what it was as a kid. You know, I grew up, Mr. Franco, in Los Angeles. You know, I grew up watching the LA Dodgers, so didn't get to a lot of Ranger games. I went to one Ranger game when I was a kid. It was 1990. I got to see the Rangers versus the Yankees. It was a couple games before what was going to be Nolan Ryan's 300th win, and we were there on vacation, and we got to go to Rangers game. My first and only time to the Arlington Stadium, and even before I got to the stadium, your stance and your numbers, your ability just resonated with me in a big way. And you were absolutely the person that I was most excited to see play with my own eyes.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, and so it was just a real treat, and I still remember it to this day. You know, a lot of games we forget, but that game just really sticks out to me. Seeing you in person for the first and only time that I got to see you play as a kid. So, but that stance, just for whatever reason, just really resonated with me. Like, just how does he do it? Why does he do it? I know I have tried many times to do it myself. Not as great results as you had with it, for sure, but I would emulate it as a kid, and it was great to see it in real life, and just has captured my attention decades later.
Yeah, every wiffle ball kid ever
Well,
has
thanks a
tried
lot. I
Julio
appreciate
Franco.
it.
Of course.
Daniel, if you could show the cover again. I think obviously a part of your personality and your career that is just amazing, Julio Franco, is the longevity of it. Can you share, like, at what point did that kind of become part of your story, where it's like, how is this guy still hitting 300, you know, in his 40s, his mid 40s, his late 40s? How was that an important part of your career to you, and how did you just keep that going?
Well, I've been a workaholic my whole life. I live by three things on the field, and it's still this way when I go play golf. I mean, it's you should never gonna outwork me. I will outthink you, and when I'm at the plate, you have to fear me. I'm gonna make you fear me. And those three things, to do those things and accomplish those things, you have to work hard, physically and mentally. And that's what I've done my whole life. I work very hard. No one can outwork me. And you, when you work hard and you grow into, you see progress in the process that you want to get there, and you see things that that you accomplish to start falling places. You continue working on the things that bring you success. I admire Ben Hogan, the great golfer, because when he got into a car accident, after the car accident, he was a better golfer. And he says that the same thing. He said, I worked so hard to develop a swing that, I had talents in my hands. And that's the same way I felt when I was working on the cage, on the weight room, on diet, getting up early in the morning, resting. When people were outside, I was resting, trying to get where I wanted to be. The goal back then was the goal, but now that I look back, it's not the goal, it's the journey that matters. It's the journey that you look now and you say, wow, it's been a wonderful, it's been a wonderful career, it's been a wonderful journey. What else can you ask?
I mean, to try to put this in perspective, baseball fans, this would be like if Albert Pujols played another 8 years. I mean, Julio Franco wasn't a 40-year-old throwing knuckleballs. He's a 48, 49-year-old hitting 300 still. And in all fairness, Julio Franco, Dominican players have a stereotype of pushing their age down, and I totally understand why and support that. Can you settle the record? How old were you when you played your last year in the MLB?
Well, it's not the players. People got things wrong. It was the scouts. When they sign you, they the one that takes ages off of you, so you have better chances to make it. Back then, the players don't have that ability to do those things.
Yeah.
And those are the things that myself, they knocked 2 years off of me. I can talk to somebody else, but right now I'm 63 years old. So I was older when I was playing than when I actually said that I was.
Wow.
And that's why it's more overwhelming. People think, oh, he's 49, so 21 years old. It's,
Wow, I've never heard that it was the scouts that did that. So you were 51
exactly.
on the Mets? Is that what you're saying? You were
Well,
51 on the Mets?
if you take 2 years, if you add 2 years to my actual age, well, here goes.
We just settled it, everyone. He was 51, raking on the Mets. Let's talk about 1991 real quick. You hit 341, won the batting title. I don't know how in the world you didn't get more MVP votes that year. Daniel and I were talking about that. We were looking over who got more votes, and it doesn't make sense at all. What are your memories of that year, and just how big the baseball must have looked to you?
The only thing was in my head at that year was I was so focused on the game. That year, everything's come together, and I was so focused on seeing the ball and hitting the ball and win the batting title that I didn't have anything else in my head. I remember that I used to have headaches after the game was over, so I was so focused on the game. I have a routine. I went to the ballpark at 12 o'clock, get ready to go to the cage. I hit, come back in, lift some weight, eat, went back outside, play with the guys, come back 6:30 inside, went to the training room. A trainer was a friend of mine, and I asked, I'm going to sleep for 30 minutes. I don't want to be bothered. And I have my little corner. I went in that corner. I closed my eyes, and I wasn't sleeping. I was focused only to see the ball for 30 minutes. It went and woke me up, ready to play. And people were going to go in that room. He says, don't go in there. Julio's in there. Don't go there, please. And that was the only thing in my mind. When I won the batting title, I was so focused on everything that I could have won it 5 or 6 times after that. It was so clear, it was so bright to me that I came back to Dominican and I started doing my training. And I hurt my knee, and I couldn't play the next year. And I hurt my knee again. I couldn't play. But still, I knew how to focus. I still know how to swing the bat. In 1994, I went to Chicago. Same thing. Same routine, same focus. If you see the numbers that I put up before the strike, Frank Thomas was hitting 30. He has 101 RBI. I was hitting 319, 119 home run and the 99 RBI.
Yeah.
Hitting fourth and he's hitting third. And the strike year. After that, I went to Japan. People say, why you went to Japan? I said, I love baseball. It's a strike year. And wasn't playing any ball anywhere. So Japan looks great.
I hope more modern day players adopt that attitude, especially we're looking at a potential lockout or strike. We want to see people play this beautiful game. Daniel, can you show the cover one more time? Go to popflypopshop.com. It's only available until Sunday. I don't say this every week, so I hope you guys believe me. This is now my favorite issue. I'm going to buy a couple. My son wants one. It's literally the perfect cover. There is an autograph option where Julio Franco is being gracious to sign some. Daniel, as you scour the chat to ask him a question before he goes, I want to correct a misnomer about your career, Julio Franco. I had always heard that you were a lefty killer, and I looked up your splits. You hit righties 291. So did that bother you that you got this stereotype of lefties when you hit righties just as good?
You know, I was the type of player that nothing that people say bothers me.
Wow.
I believe that people they have their own ideas about every player, either love or hate. And it shouldn't bother anybody. When I walk into the field, the only thing that mattered was just to win the game. It was the performance.
Wow.
What fans think of the paper says, is their own opinion, and I respect that.
Wow. Daniel, do you have a fan question to ask Julio Franco before we send him off?
There is not. It's not a question, but I really like the way this is put. Michael Palmer says, I could literally be blindfolded, and if there was a model of a baseball player batting, just by the feeling of the stance, he would be able to pinpoint is Julio Franco. Like even just without even seeing it, you could feel it, just know who it is. I thought that was such a great way to put it.
How many players can you say that about? 2, 3 at the most, right?
At the most, yeah.
So Julio Franco, thank you for your career. Thank you for being willing to spend some time with us and autograph these. One of my top 3 hits of all time is you hitting Randy Johnson into the pool. One of my favorite hits of all times. So thank you for everything, Julio Franco. Thank you for what you do for the game.
Thank you for all of you guys. Daniel, appreciate what you've done. I think it's a great memory for the ages, not only for now, for the future. To do something like this, I hope it lasts a long time. Thank you, and I appreciate it. And I'm sure my family and my kids and all the fans around the world are going to appreciate it. Thank you for your work.
Thank you, Mr. Franco, for partnering with and taking a chance on such a different way to do art. I appreciate you letting me do this with you.
The ageless wonder, Julio Franco.
Yes.
Thank you. Woo!
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Right.
So everyone go to popflypopshop.com, buy the issue, get that autograph option. Thank you so much for your time, Julio Franco.
All right. Take care.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. Bye.
Yes.
Wow.
And again, I feel like I ask the same question every time, but it doesn't get old for me. What's it like having him like smile and get like the butterflies looking at your art?
Yeah, man. It's like it's my favorite part of this of chatting with him, and just to hear the reaction, because we have back and forths, but it's usually all, it's through texts and stuff, but to see his face and to hear his reaction, it's very rewarding.
So the last couple issues you've done have gone more the traditional, baseball style.
Mm-hmm.
What happened that kind of made you maybe not revert to a different style, but kind of go to the pop fly, more creative, abstract depiction?
Some of it is just in the story itself. Some stories really lend themselves, and personalities, characters lend themselves to that sort of treatment. And for this one, I've been thinking of him for a while, and I had mentioned to you before we went live, I've drawn him 2 or 3 times already before we had even done this. Even just thinking about working on a Julio piece, and to just hearing the nicknames, the Ageless Wonder, Methuselah, it just really ignited my imagination. And so it was really just those nicknames that got me started, and they're already so vivid that they leave a really great jumping off point to start with, and I've said this already, but I appreciate folks like Julio Franco that will take a chance on something like this. There's an artist saying, look, can we work together? And they come out with a baseball and dinosaur, or come out with a not very baseball-y, but a dinosaur picture. That's a big risk, and I am forever grateful for the trust, that these athletes will put in me to tell that kind of story.
Can you bring that cover up again? So to me, what the story that I got out of this, and you can correct me and set it straight, but it's almost like Julio Franco is this eternal being, mm-hmm. and his entire eternity is just always playing baseball. So this is him at the beginning of time playing baseball, and his time with us in the MLB is really just this short little blip on his life, and a million years from now, he's still playing in a different format.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I thought. I do want to leave some up to interpretation here, but I call this the true origin story. And to your point, it's not, it's not anywhere near baseball. He exists. He is bigger than baseball. Long before there was baseball, there was Julio Franco, and again, it was with the name. If you're missing any context, if you hear there's a baseball player with the nickname Methuselah, that really like ignites, creativity. And for me, it was like, well, what would an origin story look like before baseball? Where would he be? And just, you know, and I thought about the Highlander franchise a lot. Actually, I love the Highlander franchise, but to me, this was like that. You've got this being, this entity, Julio Franco, that has existed throughout time and precedes baseball by, you know, millennia. And it was just really fun and to do, and it still ignites my creativity, because I'm thinking, well, we can do more of these, you know, Julio Franco prehistoric age, Julio Franco in the Victorian times, you know, they could do this whole series just on him.
A history of the universe in every era with Julio with some sort of club hitting something.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. This is why me as a fan, we all gravitate towards this. Popflypopshop.com. This is only available until Sunday. Get that autograph option. And something that we were asked that we didn't address last time, Daniel, is kind of, and when I say we, it's more you than we. But how did we get into this? How did we start talking to baseball players and drawing them, and how did this happen?
You know, I think about this a lot, and I try to say this often when we speak. Is just I'm glad that I'm doing this with you in particular. It's because these are the players that we loved as a kid, and when I feel like you introduced me to comic books. Baseball was on my radar, but I feel like your love of comics, you also had a love of baseball, but your love of comics it was a big influence on me as a kid, and as you know, best buddies growing up. And I know we talk about this often, but I remember clear as day, just at my parents' house, you know, sitting in a boat is parked in the driveway, you know, trading cards with each other, and going to comic book shops, and when the opportunities arose to talk to these players, you know, there was no one that I wanted to talk with them more with than you, and you have such a gift to be able to speak in the way that you do, and it's just such a joy. It truly just it's thrilling to be able to chat with you, with these guys, and I'm forever grateful for you showing up and doing this with me. The players that we traded cards with as kids, we get to talk to as adults. It's amazing.
I'll echo that. And yeah, I'm not trained in this at all, and everyone watching is like, we're aware of that, Evan, you don't need to tell us that. But no, Daniel didn't go to an agency and say, this is what I want to do, so give me your top 5 people in an interview. Like, we're childhood best friends, and we've grown up together, and our kids are now growing up together. And I've supported you in your art adventures, and I was supporting this one before it went to the next level. Yeah. And so for you to include me in it, it's one of my favorite rhythms of the month by far. So, man, thank you for including me. You probably fly a little higher with a professional, but I'm having more fun with you than off in the sidelines.
Hey, man, that's what counts. At the end of the day, that's all we have is our experiences. So I'm glad we get to have with this one together.
Yeah, and this caps that 1989. If there's a magical year, I think that's the Batman movie year. You know, the baseball players that you're drawn to the most. That's the golden year for us. I don't know if we talked about that amongst ourselves, but like for me, that is the year. Like, you know, I include packs of cards with every order. But when I get a box of 1989 Topps, like my atoms just buzz. Yeah. And actually I have a hard time like putting those. I set them aside, like, you know, maybe I'll do something with these. I don't know, but like 89 Topps, in particular the Topps, is just something about it. It's just forever connected to this wonderful time of just being 10 years old, where both of our spheres was just comics and baseball, and that was
was the entirety of our cares. That was the entirety of our interest, was just those two things. And it was just something magic about that time, which makes me also very aware of our own kids. You know, we have kids, like that time is coming for our kids, and I want to treat it with as much magic as possible, because I know how sticky that time is, and I want to make it something. I want to make it something for my own kids, and I hope to, when people get these things in the mail, like I want their atoms to buzz too, and to reconnect with what it was to be, you know, whatever that magical year was for you, 10, 11, 12. Was it 1989, 91, 72? I don't know, but I want to make those atoms buzz.
Well, you do. And again, so if you can show the cover one more time. These are only available until Sunday. I keep saying this, and if you guys have watched other episodes, I don't say this every week. This isn't some cheap sales tactic on my part. Like, this is my favorite one of the series, the 3 seasons that you've done now. And so I encourage everyone, grab one of these. You're not going to regret it. The presentation is beautiful. The product is great. My son wants one, and so we're going to get a couple on this round. I did notice you got a little love and retweeting from Rod Carew. What is going on there?
Yeah, he's someone that I've hoped to work with for a long time, and I've tried to reach out to him and you know, just so another artist. I think Brad Davis. Excuse me if I'm going to look up his name to make sure that I don't get it wrong. But I think it was Brad Davis. You go at real Brad Davis on Twitter. He posted something about the some collaboration he had with Mr. Carew and several lovely folks, and said, "You'd be great for Popfly. You'd be great for Popfly." And Rod Carew responded and followed me, and so fingers crossed that we have a Rod Carew Popfly coming out sooner than later, because I know for both of us he's big in our spheres, so it'll be quite an experience to be able to work with him.
Yeah, as an Angel Kid fan, I only knew him as on the Angels, and then, you know, as I got older, I'm like, oh wow, he's a Hall of Famer with some above incredible seasons on the Twins.
Yeah.
But again, to have him reaching out to you like a hit king, it's like, hey, what about me? Instead
Greatest
of
contact hitter of all time.
Doors down, yeah.
And speaking of batting stances, he like, we talked about top 5 most unique batting stances. He would be on that for me. Just his crouch and just barely holding on the bat. Like I can't even see which fingers have the pressure. It's just so loose in his hands. It's just maybe I'm just a batting stance guy, but it's just hypnotic. I love watching those players that do things differently, and just it's fascinating.
Well, again, popflypopshop.com until this Sunday. This one is available with the autograph option. Is there any other upcoming things for Popfly Pop Shop, Daniel, that you want to talk about or share?
Just thanks for taking chances with me, everyone, on things like this. You know, it's always makes me nervous, but it really excited to do covers like this that are baseball prints, but that aren't very baseball-y. And so it's just really fun to explore in this way. And so thanks for coming on for the ride so far. And I hope to do more things like this, more things in the works with more players. Maybe Rod Carew was one of them. I don't know. But more good things. Season 3 was a blast. I got to work with a lot more players than I had ever done in any of the previous seasons. Season 4 got other players lined up, more Hall of Famers. So it'll be a fun one.
Well, everyone, definitely send any suggestions to Daniel. He reads all of those. If there's a player you really want him to do. And he's done some repeats. So even someone he's already done, those are options too. In terms of Julio Franco, go to popflypopshop.com and get it by Sunday. Get that autograph if you would like. Thank you, everyone, for joining today. Great comment. Make sure you and Daniel will hook up and you'll get your freebie, because this is a piece of junk. You need the actual batting stance, and what better than a T-Rex in the background. Daniel, go ahead.
His bat is pointing the wrong way on his bat. Yeah.
Kenner.
I guess maybe you can consider that as a mid swing, but I feel, yeah, maybe consider that a mid swing, but it should be pointing at the pitcher, not out the other way.
Yeah, that's why we have you, to correct terrible depictions of our childhood with good ones. Well, thank you, Daniel. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. That was a fun one. We'll see you all soon.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Bye.